What's up, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another episode of the Superfriends. This time we are talking Suicide Squad, the movie which just debuted on Thursday night when we are recording this, so I guess technically yesterday night if you guys are listening on Friday when this will come out. I gotta ask, as I do in every episode that I host, what episode is this of the podcast that we're doing?
This is 47.
47! Episode 47 is our Suicide Squad themed episode. That number means nothing in relation to Suicide Squad, but I'm going to treat it like it's important. Oh my god, guys. But no, real quick.
47 years.
So let's, first off, I've got to acknowledge, I'm CJ, of course, here with Luke, DC Luke, I should say. I got to clarify that, so that might give you guys a curious little inkling of what's about to come. But DC Luke, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Just came back from Suicide Squad. Got a few things to say,
Good.
But overall, I'm just glad to be
that
here.
That bodes well for a good podcast. And I'm also here, as you guys might have guessed by now. Nick is not here right now. He's actually recording his Suicide Squad review because he just got out of the theater for it. And I'm not here with McKinley or Tim or any of the other people that sometimes have been on Superfriends. No, I'm here with a very, very special guest who has never been on an episode of Superfriends before, or at least he's never been on an episode that actually made it to YouTube. And that, of course, means I'm here with our other Luke, Marvel Luke. Tell me, buddy, is this a crossover episode?
Hey, yeah, I guess it is.
I guess it is. We kind of,
I would have to say,
we blew the Crisis on Infinite Luke's load a little too early.
Oh my god, yeah, we did.
By the way,
to be fair, we still have to get that image photoshopped.
We do. If we're going to, but I will warn you guys. I'm going to tell you the future right now. Superfriends is going to get up to episode 51, so we've got about a month of podcast left, and then we're just going to quit for like a month and let Marvelite catch up. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
And then we're going to do something very special for episode 52. Get ready. Get ready.
Then
but of course, we all saw Superfriends, or we all saw Superfriends. We all saw Suicide Squad, right?
Yes, correct.
yes,
we did.
I didn't go see it. I'm just on the spoiler.
He's just ready to talk shit. But
he's here.
Whoa, hey now. I'm not going to talk
that.
shit.
We're going to find the silver lining, right?
Silver lining in the storm cloud, as some people would put it.
And I will say, I think we all didn't hate it. Can I at least say we all didn't hate the movie? Is that about right?
Yeah. So if we're talking first impressions, I'm just going to say that I did not hate the film. I was actually rather pleased with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Like I enjoyed myself. It was entertaining. I give it a higher score than what Rotten Tomatoes gives it.
No, I think Rotten Tomatoes is currently sitting at like a 4.7 or something like that out of 10.
Jeez.
And I think that this film proves the massive divide between fans and critics.
Well, I think
there's just a massive divide.
I think before we really dive too much into it, I think this movie definitely has film problems. Like, I would say this thing suffers as a film, like as a quote unquote piece of art. As a cohesive structure, it would not stand on its own. But I feel like as far as for me as a student, I spent $8.50 on this. And for $8.50, I got to relatively enjoy myself for 2 hours and 10 minutes plus the Dunkirk teaser, which was also very nice. And there's worse ways to spend $8. So I
actually, do you mind if I give my story on that real quick?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's like I was telling you guys earlier. I just want the viewers to know about this. So, in my theater, right, the entire time the trailers were playing, it was nothing but animated films that they were showing previews for. And I'm like, well, that's a bit odd. So the previews get done, and the movie starts playing. Only it's not Suicide Squad playing, it's freaking Ice Age.
It is. Which essentially...
It is Ice Age starting to play. And
it was all an elaborate ruse.
Everyone in the... Yeah, so I leaned over to my friend, and everyone in the theater is getting pissed and laughing and making a ruckus. I lean over to my friend, and I said, guess what? And he's like, what? And I'm like, Suicide Squad isn't real. It was just a ploy to get us to watch
fake.
Ice Age.
That's exactly true.
It's fake.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Fun fact, DreamWorks invented the entire of the the whole entirety of the DCEU as a means to compete with Disney Pixar. They couldn't beat them straight
Only
up.
that didn't work out.
No. They
oh my god!
They had to cheat their way to victory, but no. So let me just go ahead and let's start this off with a little icebreaker, guys. I want to hear your best joke or laughs, and can I tell the story behind this? So me and Josh were repping the channel a little bit earlier tonight on a a game show on a Twitch channel called Hyper RPG. We did their drinking game, their Suicide Squad themed drinking game trivia episode. We both got fairly intoxicated, inebriated, and had a good damn time. We raised a little bit of a ruckus. We actually won for you guys, the viewers, the listeners, the subscribers, and the fans. We brought it home for y'all. And I highly recommend you check out Hyper RPG. But one of the questions they asked us to do, they asked us to do your Joker laugh, and the question came around to me, and I had something in mind, but I was kind of what I had in my inebriated mind was just wing it. So I was thinking at the same time a combination of the classic and modern. So I was halfway between Hamill and Jared Leto, and what came out was essentially just what started as a regular laugh and then devolved into kind of a deranged insane person laugh. But we won the category. We won that question. So I say to you, in honor of myself, Luke, DC Luke, you are an aspiring voice actor. Give me your Joker laugh.
Yes. All right.
You ready?
So before I do this,
can I give you a countdown?
All for you.
Can I give you a countdown?
Yes.
3,
Yes.
2, 1. Dude, that was incredible.
Wow. That was amazing.
That was really, really good. Marvel Luke, do you want to do yours?
All that chit chat's gonna get you.
No, but would you live for me? We're going to talk a little bit more about all that. As you know, it's a spoiler cast. But Marvel Luke, do you have a Joker laugh you'd like to debut?
Oh, God, no.
No? Because mine was something like... So, but people really seem to dig that. No, so I guess... I do want to start this conversation actually about the movie 7 minutes into the spoiler cast. What are your actual scores for the film? Let's go Marvel Luke and then DC Luke. What if you had to give it a letter grade? A plus to F minus. What would your letter grade be, Marvel Luke?
I would have to say I'm going to give this movie a solid C plus.
That's about what I give it. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, DC Luke.
Just to be different, I'll give it a C minus.
A C minus. All right, so we're kind of sticking.
Only because. Yeah.
We're kind of sticking in that C range, so it's somewhere either just slightly above average or just slightly below average. I personally am going to side with Marvel Luke. I'm going to give it a C+, and I've got some pretty specific reasons for that. But let's go. Where do you guys just want to start? How did you feel about this movie, Marvel Luke? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's cool, I kind of want to talk about what we really liked and what we thought worked for the film before we start, getting into some of the other stuff.
Sure thing. So what did you think? What did you really like? What really worked? What one thing worked the best for you?
One thing? Are we talking character-wise or plot-wise?
It could be anything. You could talk mainly the acting.
The one thing I thought that translated the most from comic to movie was Katana.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
More than anything.
She was ripped straight from the page, dude. I mean, it was...
Absolutely. I mean, you can pull contrast from all the other characters, too. I felt like also Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was also a really, really well done Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
However, her visual appearance wasn't the same, and that honestly kind of knocked her down a peg. I didn't... from the start, before we had gotten any trailers or any looks of what the characters were going to be in the film, I just had this feeling that DC was going to do a Derby Girl version of her,
and they kind of did. They did a Derby Girl version
and they
of
did,
her.
and they did, and that to be honest with you, it let me down. However, her performance just completely outweighs that.
Margot,
I will say, she was a complete delight to see on film.
I will say, I think the acting across the board was pretty stellar, and I agree with you. Katana, we have a character bio on Katana, so if you want to watch that and then go see the movie, or go see the movie and then watch our bio, you'll see how ripped from the page Katana was. Now, I don't know if that was just a direct, influence of her not really having a lot to do in the movie, but she was very much directly translated, the little bit that she was translated. But Margot Robbie did a fantastic job. I agree with you. And there's a great scene, seeing as this is also a spoiler cast. Probably my favorite single shot in the movie was the replication of the famous Alex Ross tango
that
image
was really cool,
with the Joker in the tuxedo and Harley Quinn
Yeah,
in her
I was
actual
just-
jester outfit doing the dip. But that was spectacular.
Absolutely stellar.
Absolutely,
honestly.
really visually well done too. But Luke, what one thing really worked for you in this film?
Honestly, I was not expecting a lot from him. Will Smith did an amazing job with Deadshot in this movie.
Really did.
I will say this one thing: he carried the weight of the film.
He did. And what's funny is,
for sure.
my girlfriend is not into comics at all. She felt the exact same way. She was like, Will Smith carried this movie. It really, and I think he did. I think some of his dialogue was a little cringeworthy as well at times. I feel like a lot of Margot's dialogue was a little cringeworthy. And that really hurt her character. But I think Will Smith he made it work a lot better. And I think he really did. I feel he was the emotional center of the film. He was kind of the main action person. I think that if you had to pick one person you were rooting for in the movie, it would be him. But I did really enjoy that as well. Let's follow that up. If there was like one thing that you would maybe choose as kind of like a runner-up, what would you choose? DC, Luke, let's go with you. Like, what was your runner-up for the?
Well,
actually, let's
honestly,
can I change that question? What surprised you? What weren't you expecting that was really good?
You know what? I don't know. Like, there's some stuff that didn't surprise me in terms of like story and all that. But I mean, I guess it's just to kind of follow up. I just didn't expect really good performances from everybody. I thought it was just going to be Will Smith and Margot Robbie, but I mean, like, literally everyone was really good in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? I will say almost everyone. Rick Flag, I thought was awful. I hated Rick Flag.
He was a little
so
stilted.
Much.
I will say that about the character. I felt like his acting was on point until he had to be like when he was being a dick to Will Smith the entire time. I felt like his acting was on point, and then when it came to stuff with June Moon and he had to get all sobby, that's where his performance kind of fell off for me.
Exactly. I feel like the one place where he kind of had a dramatic, heavy line that really landed was, "Your daughter writes you letters every day." Granted, you kind of don't want to think about that scene too much because you're like, you carried Will Smith's daughter's letters into battle. Like, that's a little weird. Like, you out of anything you could have carried, like, why do you have this on you, like, right now, other than as a plot device? But you don't want to think about it too much. But he did kind of nail that scene, I feel like.
I don't know. I didn't really get too much from him because, again, we had to deal with just this really. I didn't like it at all. It was just like this subplot of him with June Moon, and it was just like, this is just dumb.
So I didn't really like the way I was kind of really surprised when they announced that they were plugging that in to the movie. So your answer is just really good performances across the board. Luke, I can't pivot to another person by saying Luke this time. Marvel Luke,
ML.
what really took you by surprise in this film?
You know, honestly, what took me by surprise the most, like what I did not see coming, was Diablo's character being so fleshed out.
Oh yes.
For being such an obscure, like, Z-list character in the DC universe, like he was pleasantly awesome, honestly. Like, he really surprised me. All of his backstory was just fantastic, and he turns out to be the hero of the movie. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
That,
he really is.
That was gold.
He's another one, whereas, like, Deadshot is kind of the emotional center. I feel like the runner-up there is Diablo, which you wouldn't have expected. Where he's actually a guy that you kind of agree with. And I really love that they had him stick with his pacifist guns for most of the movie. Like, until you get to where it's like, okay, finally, like, Will Smith is going to say something. Like, they literally don't have him just be like, fuck it, fine, I'll do something. They literally had to have Will Smith, like, kind of grab him and shake him and say, "We need you here, do something."
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that as well. Yeah. For me, I'd say the thing that kind of surprised me the most was actually not hating Jai Courtney in an action role, but really how much I actually really liked Jai Courtney in this movie.
He had to do shrooms though for the role.
He really did, which makes sense. But I would have liked more of an explanation on why, like the pink unicorn fetish thing. But he was most of the comedy in the movie. He didn't really have a lot of like emotional depth. But maybe I also really like him because I did like Ezra Miller's like 2-second cameo as the Flash. It's like no honor among thieves, and but
you know what I will say with Jai Courtney, probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. He's just talking to Slipknot. He's like, "Oh, there's not really bombs in our necks. They're just making that up, mate. We're just gonna escape." And like Slipknot, and Slipknot trusts him, and he escapes, and he gets his head blown.
Oh my god! Can I tell you though?
And
anybody that listens to this podcast knows that we predicted a great deal of this movie ahead of time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I feel like we can't take all the credit. I'm sure everyone knew Slipknot was going to die.
We predicted the exact manner and timing in which Slipknot dies. We were like, they get to Midway City and Slipknot's head blows up. And then we also were predicting that Enchantress was actually the villain and stuff like that. But, I mean, we didn't really predict a whole lot. But it was kind of funny to see that when we did make predictions, it was relatively correct. So the other thing, I kind of want to pivot this question and say you guys were pleasantly surprised by something. What was something that you expected to be really good and you were, I guess, disappointed in? What was something that kind of surprised you the other way? Let's go Marvel Luke on this one. What did you expect to like but were surprised that you didn't?
What I expected to like, surprised that I didn't. Oh my god, I definitely can't say the Joker because I hated him.
Oh yeah. But I mean, did you expect to like Jared Leto's take, or was it more of like a?
No, honestly.
So what did you really expect?
Amanda Waller. I would actually have to say Amanda Waller. I didn't expect honestly her role to be as influential to the plot as it actually was. But you know,
yeah.
See, like, it's so weird. I'm still trying to really just collect all of my thoughts on this film. I'm trying to analyze it. It's an odd movie.
It really is. I mean, I think it. We'll talk about the THR report a little bit in a few minutes, but it really does line up with a lot of the stuff that report said.
I thought, okay, like I really thought I was going to like Amanda Waller, and I didn't. And the reason why was I understand that a lot of times she's a cold, heartless bitch, but that one scene where she literally killed all of those innocent people,
3 or 4 like innocent workers,
like her co-workers.
Yeah,
I don't understand. And she was pretty much just like,
they didn't have clearance.
And her excuse was literally like you said, Luke, that they didn't have clearance. Like, they weren't cleared for this. It's like, what the fuck?
Like, then why did you bring them?
Exactly.
That really made me just not like that character at all.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I feel like everything outside of that she was really good.
Yeah, no,
though.
that's the thing.
Like,
is I feel like
I definitely want this character to come back.
No, she was really
yeah.
She was really one of the great, I think, performances in this movie, especially considering like that. You know, there were quite a few pretty good performances in this film. But Luke, God damn it, DC Luke. This is confusing already. I can't imagine what's going to happen when we get to episode 52. This was a mistake. DC Luke. Wait, is WB saying that right now? But DC Luke, what was something that you expected to like but didn't?
I don't really know, because like I guess it was no secret I was kind of not really for this film when it was coming out. So I'm trying to think of something I thought would be alright. You know what? I thought that the plot was going to be like just kind of different from regular superhero stuff. And as it turns out, the movie barely has a plot.
It really is. It's kind of
like it says it's doing one thing, and then you find out they're doing something else in the middle of it, and then you find out they're doing another thing in the middle of that.
Yeah, so should we kind of just get into some of what we thought didn't work, or what some of the negatives of the film?
Yeah, I was just going to pivot right into the thing that I'm kind of going to spin this off kind of with my response to that is the thing that I expected to like but didn't was Jared Leto's Joker. And I think Luke kind of brought this up that he didn't expect to like Jared Leto's Joker and was subsequently let down. I honestly expected it to be better than it was. I don't know what disturbed me about the take, but mostly it's just not the comic book Joker. It's just they kind of took like the mob aspects of Jack Nicholson's Joker, and then took kind of they took the anarchist socio-psychopath version of Heath Ledger's Joker and like mishmashed them into the worst of both. And it's like, well, he's this sociopathic mob boss that just happens to call himself the Joker. It's like he's not doing anything because he finds it funny.
Yeah, he didn't feel like the Joker.
No, he really didn't. He's not doing anything because he finds it funny. He's not doing anything because he sees humor in it. He's really not only he's only laughing at points when it makes him seem crazy. It's like when the plot demands him to seem like a crazy person. He's really unrecognizable.
I felt like Leto's performance was just overdone.
Oh yeah,
like it was.
And I'll say maybe because he did have literally, people have counted, and he's had literally 6 scenes cut out of the movie, like from what we've seen in the trailer. So maybe
he kind of pulled a Trank on Twitter, dude.
Which, honestly, you know what? Thank God, because I had enough of him as it was in the movie.
I'm going to say maybe I would have liked him a little more, but if the character was shifting, maybe that would have felt a little odd. But
like, for me, the character just falls completely flat on his face.
Yeah. I didn't love it.
It's awful. It's probably one of the worst things I've seen in a long while in a movie, because it's just literally, he comes on screen and he's just like, oh, baby, you're back.
It's a pretty solid impression for only seeing the movie a few hours ago.
I don't know
didn't
what
it kind
he's
of
doing.
sound like Heath Ledger when he was like doing those scenes like that?
He literally sounded like he was doing an impression of him, but he wanted to add in like, I don't know what he wanted to add in. I guess he wanted to be like Mark Hamill, I guess.
Well,
and then,
see, the weird thing is like aesthetically, if you take away all of his tattoos, put him in a white and purple suit, he's the Dark Knight Returns Joker.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, he's nailed that visual down. I mean, you can kind of tell that's what they were kind of going for, I think, in terms of this universe. Because the original guy they wanted for the Joker was Ryan Gosling, believe it or not. But so kind of to segue from that, from hating on Jared Leto's Joker, which I feel like might be our answer for the next question, let's start with DC Luke. What was something that you disliked about this movie? What was the thing that you disliked about this movie the most?
All right, so is the Joker off the table? We can't say.
You can say the Joker if you want to, and we can keep talking
I'm going to say Joker because honestly, I could forgive everything else, but that was literally like the worst thing you could possibly do for the Joker. Like, I don't know how that got passed in like a screening or like an executive table. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, how did it get past the pitch
meeting?
Look,
if you liked the Joker, that's fine. My personal biased opinion is that I shouldn't say that, but look, my personal opinion is that this is
you fucking
like,
Marvel fanboy. God damn, what are you doing a DC podcast for?
Look, I'm just saying, as a guy that loves the Joker, that even in that video said there's no right interpretation of him, this was definitely a wrong interpretation of him.
I will have to back that opinion 100%.
So Marvel Luke, is that your also thing that you just hated the most about this movie?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the rest of the things I'm just going to be critiquing a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, it was just, Leto's Joker was just insanely bad, and not in a good way. You know, sometimes you come across characters in movies that are really bad, but in a good way, and this is, like, that character was just not it. Like, he was not the Joker to me.
He was just bad.
He was just bad. I mean, you can compare him to all the many Jokers you want, but this was not, by any means in the imagination, a comic book Joker. I don't care what any of your guys' opinions are. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about him. You know, the heart feels what the heart feels. I can't change that. Like, it's just, it was bad.
Like, I just want to say, though, because like, it didn't even have to be like a comic book Joker. It just had to kind of represent the ideals of the Joker. And I mean, like, this guy was just a drug cartel boss.
Another scene that I was expecting to have in the film that we didn't get, since so many people were saying that Batman had so much screen time in the film, that like I was wanting a scene between the Joker and Batman. Because it has been almost a decade since we have gotten that. I know it sounds insane, but The Dark Knight came out. It's creeping up to 9 years now.
Yeah, it's almost 9 years.
And so like that's why I was
more than 8 years. I can remember.
Yeah, I feel like it's been long enough. I feel like fans needed to see that scene, and we just didn't get it.
I can remember to the weekend that The Dark Knight actually came out. Like, I can remember where I was the weekend that The Dark Knight came out. But the
where were you?
I was actually at the beach. Knight. I didn't see. I actually did. Believe it or not, this is my one shameful thing as a comic book fan and as somebody that works in this industry now. I did not see The Dark Knight in theaters. I didn't see it until I watched it on DVD.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I
got to see an employee screening of it when I worked in a movie theater.
It was the first Blu-ray that I ever bought. Was The Dark Knight, and I really do enjoy the movie. I do. It's a stellar film.
It is good. And I mean, Joker is drastically different in that movie, but I think it works because he's not like just this. He's not just a gangster. He's like this crazy anarchist, and he's finding the humor and stuff. He's finding purpose with Batman. He's got all the things from like the Killing Joke version of the character. This one's like there's nothing recognizable about him at all. Besides his aesthetic.
He's almost like if you didn't know that he was the Joker, I don't think if you took the paint off him and changed his hair, I don't think you'd know he was the Joker. Whereas Heath Ledger's version, I think you would know. But if you were just describing that to somebody without having to mention his appearance. But if I can get into the thing that I disliked the most, I think the thing that I disliked the most, and I'm going to kind of do a pivot here, prepare yourselves. The thing that I disliked the most was really that you can just tell that this wasn't David Ayer's vision. And I think there are some people listening that are going to be shocked by this, but this clearly was not David Ayer's vision, his original intent for the movie, no matter what he'll say on Twitter. And we're going to now start talking about the Hollywood Reporter came out with a report. They did what they were supposed to do. They came out with a report that really delved into the background and the troubled waters that this production had to go through, largely because Warner Brothers... 6 weeks. Warner Brothers, as a studio... Well, from the beginning, this production had flaws. But I think most of it, let's start with the beginning of production. So part of this report alleges that David Ayer really only had 6 weeks to write the script. 6 weeks to write the script. And if any of you...
Into that, I actually give him credit.
I know. He did a pretty good job for what he... And then to get shot in the foot even more, Warner Brothers, he went through his principal photography, he got everything that he wanted, and Warner Brothers apparently severely balked at what he presented them, what he kind of gave them as like his rough cut, and they were like, what the fuck is this? We can't do this, especially, and then they doubled down on it after the negative reception of Batman v Superman. They apparently were completely blindsided by the negative reception to that movie. They expected it to be an absolute hit. They expected it to really kick off their film universe with a bang, and so they said, you know what, we can't have another flop like this. And this is the most damning thing to me, off the heels of last summer's Comic-Con trailer, which had such a fun tone, they said, we want the tone of the movie to be more like that. So they hired their own editors to compete against David Ayer and his editors, and they had their editors work in conjunction with the company that made the trailer for them, a company called Trailer Park, and they set about creating their own different competing cut of the movie.
Wow. To
make a separate movie almost out of the scenes that they had shot. And what we see in the theaters today is essentially a bastardization of those two movies. Now, I can tell you this isn't how movies usually work. I brought this up to a friend of mine who's getting into the industry now, who just graduated as an editor and is looking for work. And she was honestly appalled by this. She hadn't read the report, but she was like, I would have quit. I would have walked off the set. And
as the director?
As the director, as she's an editor. As the editor, reportedly, David Ayer was locked out of the editing room, and the editor who's actually credited in the movie, who was David Ayer's chosen editor, he actually basically walked off the production, and most of the editing was done by someone completely different because of the changes THR was making. That's my big disappointment with the movie, is that we didn't ever really get to see David Ayer's vision.
You see, this is what happens when companies don't learn from other companies' mistakes. When you have massive screw-ups from Sony and Fox, and then you have companies like WB who don't learn these lessons from other people's failures, you're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah, essentially is what you're doing. The more the studio meddles with a movie and the director's vision, the worse off it's going to be down the road.
Oh, yeah.
And history has proven that time and time again. So what you're saying is we could have potentially had a way better movie than what we got.
Oh yeah, essentially, and that's the thing is I want to see David Ayer's director's cut of this film. We will never see
I do
that.
Too now.
We will never see
yeah.
that because I think WB would essentially have to admit that it was wrong for that to happen.
I will say this also too. F the Rolling Stones, because they said in their review that in the movie that Enchantress's army was a bunch of quote zombies. They were not zombies. I didn't think that they were zombies anyway. Maybe they meant that more figuratively.
Yeah.
They were kind of just mindless drones, because honestly that is one of the things that did fail for me in the film, because that was extremely unoriginal. Seeing just mindless drones.
Well, I'll say, and the one thing that I'll say is there are a lot of DC fans that have gotten on Marvel fans and people that like Marvel movies and kind of turn a blind eye to some of the
I will
things.
critique Marvel for that too. I don't like when Hollywood movies do mindless armies.
But I don't like it. I would say that there are some people that have critiqued that in the past that are probably going, Suicide Squad was a good movie, there's nothing wrong with it. They turn a blind eye to that, but would critique Marvel for the same thing. I mean, you've essentially got the portals in the sky and mindless, faceless soldiers, kind of the same way.
It's just kind of a cliche that's been done time and time again. Oh, yeah. I was expecting something a little more original coming from such an obscurity, and to see these cliches play out as they did, I was honestly let down by that.
Well, I mean, and I think it also attributes just to the story itself, because the movie has to bend over backwards, I think, to get its plot moving, because literally you have a scene where Enchantress takes over and she teleports all over the place just to make sure that the conflict can get set up and that the movie can actually start.
Well, there's two more things that are currently on my mind. One, it was really upsetting when Amanda Waller was like, we gotta green light Task Force X now, because we can't fight off all of these faceless things, whatever they are, because you shoot them and they get back up, or you chop their head off and they get right back up. Nowhere in the film did we ever see that. Ever. In the film. Katana was literally chopping their heads off. They did not get back up.
Yeah.
They were shooting them down. They did not get back up. So what the fuck were those lines that she said in the film? Why were they there? I think also shows why, that's another flaw. The story just needed to be more fleshed out. They should have gave David Ayer a few more months, up to maybe 4 to 6 months, to actually flesh out the story.
Well, I think that's part of the thing is they weren't really they gave David. I think they were fine with David Ayer's version as constituted until they saw the negative reception that BVS was getting, and then it was more of oh, we need to put more hands on this thing. So I guess my question to you guys is Warner Brothers, and we've all heard the reports that Warner Brothers is being very hands-on the Justice League set. Is Warner Brothers making a fatal mistake here? Are they going to be able to come back from this?
Okay, well, the question I have is that, did the studio really meddle with Batman v Superman, or was that entirely Zack Snyder's vision?
That's a good question.
I mean,
we don't really have the answer to
is it really a better thing to let Zack Snyder do his vision of the Justice League, or might it be a good idea, since it was so negatively received with the last film, that the studio might feel obligated to meddle a little bit and make sure that it's more streamlined and not more like BVS?
I mean, I would counter that with the fact that we did get the extended Ultimate Edition of BVS, and I mean, honestly,
I still didn't like that film.
So it makes me think: is it a multitude of things? Was the WB cutting it down, was that a big problem, or is it literally just that version?
I think it's a little bit of a combination of things. I think in that case, I don't think it's exactly 1-to-1. With David Ayer, we've gotten evidence that he can make really, really good films. I mean, the dude wrote Training Day, which is an incredible film. He's done movies like Fury, which Fury was one of my favorite movies. I think that came out in 2014. That was one of my favorite movies of 2014. Or early 2015, I think, is actually when it came out. That was one of my favorite movies. End of Watch, really, really good. We know he can direct. We know he can. Zack Snyder, I think we've seen, I think the Fundamental Flaw video really hit the nail on the head. He's more of a moments over scenes kind of guy. He's a very visual director, both literally and in terms of, I guess, more metaphorical style. Like he's more over like moments that you're going to remember, like the symbology, but without really making symbology. Like I think you've got it in that. Even in that case, you've got to walk before you can run. You know. So it's like he's more of like scenes you remember, like Watchmen, do it, you're locked in here with me, all that stuff, and then this is Sparta, all that kind of stuff, and he's not really you'll remember like great scenes from other movies, like
Now, one of the good things that I do want to talk about, and I know we talked about this before we started recording, but I wanted to talk about how the film just dives right into the lore of the universe, and does not back away.
I will say that's probably my favorite thing about the universe is, as opposed to Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, this movie does not flinch. An
exact opposite from Zack Snyder's vision.
Exactly. This movie does not flinch from, oh, this is Katana. She's got a magic sword that steals the souls of the people she kills. Like, no, there's not they don't even bat an eyelash at that. When Rick Flag says it, they're like, oh, okay. They kind of make a little pass at like, oh, you know what they say about the crazy ones later, but it's more like fine, nobody gives a shit about that. Or like El Diablo, he can turn into this giant flaming skeleton thing, and nobody really is like, holy shit, why didn't you do that earlier?
Somewhere in the comment section, I'm going to get hate for this because they're going to be like, you Marvel fag. Obviously, I'm on the Marvelite, and I'm a big Marvel fan, but I'm going to say this right now. Marvel, for the love of God, take notes from this.
I know. Marvel needs to, honestly, Marvel needs to learn from this. They still are, and I'm hoping Doctor Strange is, the solution to that. But Marvel still, to a degree, are pulling punches with the magic and mysticism thing. They're kind of not going whole hog on that. They really are kind of like, well, maybe, magic is just science that we don't understand. Well, DC, for all its flaws, has just beaten you to the punch on that. They have said, okay, this sword is magic. Okay, Killer Croc was literally an evolutionary step backwards. He is atavism.
Yep.
Okay, El Diablo has fire powers we don't know where they came from. Okay, Enchantress is literally basically an extra-dimensional witch. But
they didn't shy away from that, and I will say I have to touch on El Diablo for a minute. The only thing, as much as I loved him in the film, the only thing they didn't really describe. Yeah, they gave him a good backstory, but what they did not show is how he got his powers, which I really wanted an explanation for that. That needed to be more fleshed out. He just implied that I've always had these powers. Which was really, at the end, during that climactic battle, it was literally two Central American Aztec gods fighting each other, which was amazing, and I never expected to see that in the film. I didn't actually think we were going to see El Diablo transform, so it went from more like, I have these powers since a child, to I literally have a deity living inside of me. So I'm like, wait, that's awesome, but at the same time, I really want to know how. How was that a thing? You
don't need to know.
Did some swamp witch down in Mexico give imbue you with this deity before you were born or something?
Yeah.
I want to know. You just show me this stuff. That needed to be more fleshed out. It's another good example, I think, of how this movie suffered from a 6-week script.
Exactly, but I mean, so I guess now is kind of the time to transition, so we can get into the only other topics we've got to talk about.
I need to mention one more
thing. Go ahead. Oh, we'll count this as your final thought.
Do you now?
Do you now? We'll count this as your final thought. This is my final thought.
Yeah, again, this is critiquing, but I thought it was extremely ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous when Enchantress, as a final last resort to fight the Squad, decided she was going to pull out physical, magical, weird swords to fight them. Now, it would have been a little bit better if she would have said, I've been alive for thousands of years. I've learned how to fight with physical objects or what have you. But there was none of that. She's just like, nope. Instead of putting a curse on all of you and killing you instantly, I am just going to pull out these swords and physically fight you.
And then she pulled away all their weapons when she could have done that before. It's just, this movie fell into a lot of and I feel like that's exactly, you could tell exactly where WB had their fingers in the movie by how many tropes they used. It's okay, fine, now she's going to pull out her swords, or now El Diablo is going to become this flaming skeleton monster. But Luke, DC Luke, any final thoughts on this movie?
I want to see my daughter. I want an espresso machine.
I want BET.
I want BET.
Yeah.
I want BET.
Oh
honestly,
my God.
That was the best scene of the entire movie.
That was the best. I can forgive everything just for a fucking YouTube 10-hour version of Croc saying he wants BET.
And then sitting on the couch, like, watching booty shaking
like,
on TV. Oh, fuck yeah. But I did like Harley getting the espresso machine at the end. But
yeah,
it was cute.
It was just like, yeah, I don't know. Final thoughts. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I wish that Harley and Quinn would have been that Alex Ross style shot the entire movie, because that would have just been gold. I don't know why that was such a missed opportunity, and they really could have done something special with Harley and Joker if they would have kept them that way.
Well, that's kind of why
they simply did not.
That's kind of why I'm always shocked when they say it's like, oh, we it's like, it's like, oh, we told people not to read comics on set because we're doing something different. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you go to your greatest resource? My final thoughts are better than I was expecting, not what I hoped.
I'm going to recommend this to people. I feel like this movie deserves to be watched in the theater. Oh, yeah. You definitely should go watch it and support this
experience.
film.
I think you're going to have fun with it, more fun than you might be expecting.
Yeah.
But I would say it's definitely a matinee for me. I don't, unless you're a student and you can only go pay, like I did, $8.50 to go watch it. Maybe go when you're going to pay like $7.
I paid $9.50.
Well, it's not bad. It's not. I mean, still not like a whole. Like I know back where I'm from, up in Northern Virginia, like I might have paid $13. But luckily my local theater is only letting me take $8.50. So now we're going to move on to another segment that we like to call TV Time. We're going to talk about some TV news. Because that's really the only other thing we got to talk about this week. DC's been staying fairly mum on the movie news thanks to Suicide Squad coming out. They want that to be the main headline, but that hasn't stopped the TV stuff from being, I guess, a factor. So let's really briefly go over this. The one big story of the day comes to us from The Flash over on the CW. The Flash, of course, going into its third season, the major Flashpoint episode, and we finally this week have confirmation from Grant Gustin, Barry Allen himself, that Flashpoint will not be the full season. Now, guys, I gotta ask: are you a little surprised here, or are you just disappointed, or is this about what you expected? Let's go to DC Luke. Did you expect the Flashpoint storyline to run the full season?
No, I mean, I didn't think that there was really enough there to constitute a whole season. I mean, I know CJ, you really wanted it to because you wanted it to be like this big event thing, but
I had my hopes up.
Like, again, in all honesty, just what I know about Arrow and just the other shows, like, it just would have been too much effort. And there's like they're doing their own thing with Felicity becoming the hero the world needs, but
Smoke and the Smokettes.
Yeah, but I mean, I never thought it was going to be a whole season because I knew that would have been just way too much work, and all the character development that we kind of got from the past season just kind of would have been thrown out the window in all honesty because we wouldn't have seen any progression from season 2.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's the main thing, and that's a lot of people's issue with Flashpoint is it kind of feels like a step backwards for Barry. Grant Gustin in that same interview did kind of explain the motivations, though, and he did say, like, okay, he really does that because Iris, essentially, like, in that moment, in the end of season 2, tells him everything he's wanted to hear from Iris. Like, I love you. Like, you're my guy, dude. And in no uncertain terms. And he feels nothing. Grant was saying in the character, like, he's like, great, this is everything I've wanted from Iris, but it still feels hollow. And he realizes why, and it's because, he knows that he's got these time traveling abilities, and some asshole killed his mom. So, like, let's go fucking fix that, mate. No, he kind of fucks it all up. But Luke, Marvel Luke. Were you surprised by this? Were you shocked and disappointed? Or?
I was not surprised nor shocked. However, I am a bit let down. I have been pitching from the beginning that these shows need to not be 21 or 22 episodes long. I don't even think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be. Look what Marvel does with their Netflix stuff and how well they can flesh out everything in just 13 short episodes. It allows you to I feel have better writing, a more cohesive narrative, and also overall have a higher budget. And I feel like when you have these long episodes and you want to do these events, you can't do them because there's no way Flashpoint is going to last 22 episodes. It's just not going to happen. So I expect it maybe to last 3 to 4 episodes. And to be honest with you, it's just not going to live up to the comic book or even even the animated movie, because things are going to be changed around. Basically, we're just going to. I personally feel we're probably just going to see more of the same. Of oh no, Barry screwed up the timeline again. Everything's different for 3 or 4 episodes.
That's a nice timeline. It would be a shame if something happened to it.
It would be a shame if something. Yeah, but we're not going to get Wonder Woman or Aquaman or Thomas Wayne Batman. Like, we're just not going to see any of those elements that the initial story provides. Honestly, that's very disappointing.
So Marvel Luke already answered my lightning round question. So DC Luke, how many episodes do you think it's going to last? If you had to put an over and under. So Marvel Luke, Jesus fucking Christ, you said 3 or 4?
Yeah.
So DC Luke, I'll set the over under at 3. Do you say over or under, and maybe a specific tone?
I say under.
Wow.
I say 3 maximum. I think would be.
So you're kind of going 2 to 3.
Yeah, because you do 3 episodes, it's like a big 3-part trilogy kind of big super episode, and then after that you can just go through with it.
What were you saying?
No,
that
was
now?
it.
No, but I was going. I'm siding with my HNN viewers. I think it'll last 6 episodes. I think I'm hoping for my series, my sextilogy, but no one else is going for that. So the other TV time piece of news that we have to talk about, new set photos. Of course, after the Tyler Hoechlin reveal from last week, we've gotten a ton of new set photos from the set of Supergirl Season 2 up in Vancouver. The Canadians up there filming Supergirl. Some new photos of Tyler Hoechlin on set looking much better than he did in that promo picture. And one of the new set photos this week, actually just yesterday, revealed him fighting a faceless, unnamed baddie that looks pretty run-of-the-mill until you notice that he's got this giant honking green crystal on his chest, which means he is Metallo. Yes. Are you guys... how much of an impact do you guys think that's going to have on Supergirl Season 2? Are you at all surprised that Metallo is in the show? And do you think that he's a one-off villain? Let's go DC Luke first.
You went with him last time.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's go with Marvel Luke this time.
That's not fair. That's bullshit. He went with you last.
Which Luke was I talking to? God damn it.
I'll go first. I'm going to do it. I volunteer as tribute. So, I'm very disappointed that he basically looks like Smallville Metallo, but I will say I hope he's not a one-off villain. I really like Metallo, and I think part of me thinks he will be, though, because from what we know, Superman's only in the first 2 episodes, I think. Was that what it was, or is he just in the first episode?
He's in the first 3, I think.
Okay, so I'm thinking we're going to get a bunch of Superman stuff, but after that world's going to kind of just be pushed off to the side. So I'm expecting Metallo to just kind of show up as because you have to have an obligatory Superman villain when he shows up, so get the guy with kryptonite in his fucking chest. But I don't know. In terms of how it will impact Supergirl, it'll expand the world, definitely, but since they're introducing Lena Luthor, whatever the hell her name is, I can't ever remember, it just makes me think that that's going to show up for 3 episodes and then it's going to go away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd be interested to see what happens with that. I still think that they're going to still be in this Supergirl CBS universe, and then some kind of crisis is going to force her into a different universe. But Marvel Luke, what are you thinking about Metallo?
I think it's great. I think that he does look a little bit like Smallville Metallo. Hopefully he won't. But which actually I kind of like the way that Smallville Metallo looked. I don't know. I'm hyped because I really a couple of years ago when they announced BVS, I really wanted Metallo to be in that film as the title villain, and he wasn't at all. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting take either way. I just hope that this Superman will stick around. I hope that he's not going to be a one-off hero, and I want to see him as a supporting, reoccurring character. That's really the most that I want from the show, more than anything.
I completely agree with you. I think I'd like him to stick around. I'm a little worried that they're just going to have kind of it be like, oh, here's this crisis that's going to force her over to the CW verse. Sucks to suck. Bye.
Will it happen on her show, or will it happen because of Flashpoint?
That'll be an interesting thing to see. And that's why I kind of think it might go. We know Superman's going to be there for 3 episodes. That might be the thing. I think we might have cracked the code here, gentlemen. It'll be all hunky dory, and Superman's back, and we're teaming up, and then fuck, Barry fucked everything up. 3 episodes in, he goes back to being normal, and then it's Superman's gone. But I don't know.
I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Any parting words to the audience here, fellas?
Go see Suicide Squad.
Support the official release. DC Luke, any parting words?
Maybe now we can finally get the credit as being true DC fans, since I didn't hate this movie.
Hey.
Maybe now I'll stop being harassed.
Maybe.
Yeah, please, people, be gentle in the comment section. It's definitely okay. It's okay to disagree with each other, but please don't name call don't name call us, or don't name call each other. Just please be civil, responsible human beings.
I think we really enjoyed this movie. I personally had a fun time in the theaters. There's some things I would change. There's some things I disagreed with.
I definitely liked it.
But this movie is actually, and I say this non-ironically, this is a fun time at the movies, no doubt. But you can tell they had fun making it, and it comes across on screen. So on that positive note, for DC Luke and Marvel Luke, I was about to say just Luke, signing off, this is CJ, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.